The story begins in the summer of 1945, shortly after the war's victory. 5 fighter pilots, Vadik, Lyosha, Garik, Vanya, and Misha, find themselves stuck in Germany. With no flights or missions, they're bored and restless. Vadik dreams of reuniting with Nastya Karpova, his sweetheart back home, whom he hasn't seen in person but has exchanged telegrams with. However, their plans are crushed when their unit is ordered to remain stationed in Germany. This unexpected delay sends them spiraling into frustration and boredom. They try to distract themselves with silly antics, including pretending to fly using an old gazebo. Suddenly, a message arrives. One pilot is being sent to a military factory in the Smolensk region. The lucky one turns out to be Lyosha Kaverin, a kind-hearted, soft-spoken, and polite young man, and a loyal friend. That very night, Vadik wakes Lyosha in the middle of his sleep with an unusual request: to marry Nastya on his behalf, using Vadik's documents when he arrives in Smolensk. Still groggy, Lyosha is bewildered and unsure. Vadik's simple plan quickly spirals into chaos. Soon, almost all the other pilots beg Lyosha to find them wives as well, handing over their documents and wedding rings. Even Garik, who initially scoffed at the idea, caves at the last minute and gives Lyosha his papers before the flight. Lyosha boards a Lai-2 and heads to the Smolensk region. Upon landing, Major Vyokrystyuk provided him with instructions on how to interact with the locals. Shortly after, Lyosha hitches a ride on a passing mail truck driven by Zoya Skvortsova, a straightforward, tough, and slightly tomboyish girl. Zoya's no-nonsense demeanor soon leads to trouble. When the truck gets stuck in the mud, Lyosha helps push it free. But in the process, his bag falls, spilling the IDs of his friends. Zoya, jumping to conclusions, assumes Lyosha is a German spy. Without warning, she strikes him on the head, ties him up, and drags him to the local commandant's office. The commandant isn't there, so Zoya climbs into the back of the truck to check on her captive. By then, Lyosha has freed himself. He knocks her over, silences her, first with a kiss, then stuffing her mouth with a fried bun, and tries to explain the situation. Zoya naturally doesn't believe a word. When the commandant, Galina Nikishina, returns and notices the truck, she investigates. Peeking behind a curtain, she finds Lyosha calmly teaching Zoya how to tie knots. Thinking quickly, Lyosha claims he was there to visit Zoya and even brought the commandant pies as a courtesy. Zoya asks how he is going to find all the brides in one day. Lyosha assures her that he knows what he is doing. He then timidly asks whether she's interested in marriage, which angers Zoya, because she never said that she's single. She then, in the moment of anger, invents a fiancé on the spot to end the conversation. For his first mission, Lyosha heads to Nastya's house. However, upon arrival, everyone mistakes him for Vadik and doesn't let him get a word in. They enthusiastically drag him into a feast and then to the registry office. At the last possible moment, Lyosha manages to reveal his true identity to Nastya. Shocked, she faints on the spot. This scene is so funny. After regaining consciousness, Nastya bolts, but Lyosha and Zoya catch up to her. Amid Zoya's uncontrollable laughter, Lyosha explains everything. Reluctantly, Nastya agrees to hear him out, and during another feast, she learns all the details. She points to her friend Katya. With Katya's approval, Nastya offers her as a bride for one of Lyosha's friends. Though Zoya has no reason to stay involved, Lyosha seems reluctant to part ways with her. Katya agrees to accompany them under the guise of seeing Nastya off to the airport. However, this plan attracts unwanted attention. Nastya's father and half the village form a loud procession of tractors and carts to follow them. Zoya is furious. She directs her anger at Katya, accusing her of inviting the villagers. Katya retorts, escalating into a brawl in the back of the truck. Lyosha wisely stays out of it. When the villagers close in, he leaps into the driver's seat and speeds off, leaving the commotion far behind. Arriving at Katya's house, she sneaks inside to pack her things but gets caught. Lyosha follows her and discovers a heated argument between Katya and her twin sister, Aja. Though identical in appearance, the twins couldn't be more different in personality. Asha questions whether Lyosha is mentally unwell, grilling him with questions about his intentions. Meanwhile, their cute grandmother happily packs Katya's belongings, unfazed by the drama. With her blessing, Katya and Lyosha head to the registry office and get married. But trouble looms. Andrei, a guest at Nastya's wedding who had already seen Lyosha tie the knot, spots him again. Assuming Lyosha is committing bigamy, Andrei chases him out of the building. On the streets, the situation escalates as Nastya's father and the villagers join in, pursuing Lyosha through the town. Lyosha narrowly escapes by jumping into the back of Zoya's truck. But his troubles aren't over yet. Andrei reports the bigamist to Commandant Nikishina, who already wasn't fond of Lyosha. Meanwhile, Lyosha's car is stopped by a patrol of soldiers, creating a tense standoff. One soldier immediately points at him, shouting, "That's him!" Without hesitation, Lyosha takes the blame, insisting that Zoya had nothing to do with it and was forced by him. To his surprise, it turns out they've mistaken him for a doctor, thanks to the passport borrowed from his doctor friend. The soldiers drag Lyosha through the forest to a village where a woman is in labor. The situation in the village is chaotic. The woman's husband, convinced the baby isn't his, stands guard with a revolver, threatening to shoot anyone who enters the house unless the real father is revealed. The village elder, Dedis, tries to reason with him, insisting that many babies in the village were born premature. The soldiers shove Lyosha through a window into the house, where he wants nothing more than to escape. Inside, Lyosha is intercepted by Marussia, a sharp and no-nonsense former frontline nurse. She demands that he help with the delivery, but his horrified expression only makes her suspicious. Meanwhile, worried for Lyosha's safety, Zoya sneaks into the house just in time to intervene when the husband, Yegor, lunges at Lyosha, assuming he's the father. Zoya steps in, but the fight escalates until Marussia diffuses the situation by presenting the newborn. Zoya and Lyosha gaze at the baby in awe. Zoya points out that the boy is ginger-haired, which sparks an epiphany. Yegor realizes Dedis, the village elder with bright red hair, might be the real culprit. Lyosha, Zoya, and Marussia escape the chaos, only to face another problem. The villagers now know Lyosha isn't really a doctor. As they flee, they hide in a bathhouse where they find Dedis hiding as well. Dedis offers Marussia his blessing before they resume their journey. Back on the road, they find the car stuck in deadwood. Katya, who doesn't know how to drive, had tried to move it herself. Lyosha can't help but laugh at the absurdity. As they continue, the car stalls out of gas. While Zoya searches the village for fuel, Lyosha and Katya go bride hunting. Lyosha, being his mild-mannered self, is quickly dragged onto the dance floor for an awkward and comical performance. Later, he finds Zoya persuading a drunk villager to part with some gas. The villager demands a kiss as payment, and before Lyosha can protest, Zoya smirks and obliges, much to his jealousy. Amused by his reaction, Zoya retrieves the gas and they prepare to leave. Just as things seem to settle, Nastya's father and his posse storm in, dragging Nastya back with them. Katya's earlier attempts to enlist local girls have also backfired, and now the group is under siege. Lyosha and Zoya escape through the barn's roof. At the registry office, Marussia's friend Lilia Sinitsina registers Lyosha and Zoya, but Commandant Nikishina intervenes, having them arrested. The girls are forcibly sent back to their villages, and Lyosha and Zoya are locked in a closet together. Inside, Lyosha asks Zoya about her supposed fiancé. She admits she made him up and shares a heartbreaking story. 11 boys from her class had gone off to war, and by 1943, none were left to write letters to. Meanwhile, Lilia fakes a hyperventilation episode, distracting the guard long enough to free Lyosha and Zoya. She hands Lyosha back his friend's passport, but, unable to resist a prank, alters the documents. When Lyosha notices, her mischievous expression gives her away, and he bursts out laughing. She had secretly married the last of Lyosha's friends, completing the mission. The group regathers to rescue the brides. With Dedas's help, they retrieve Marussia, who had been hiding in a barrel, and Katya, disguised in her twin sister Asha's clothes. However, Nastya remains heavily guarded by armed villagers and her relatives. A bold plan is hatched. The group steals the commandant's motorcycle, with Lilia posing as Nikishina. They present Lyosha as a tied-up criminal and convince Nastya's relatives to wait for the commandant's arrival. When Lilia arrives posing as the commandant, the tied-up Lyosha is put in a carriage. Andrei volunteers to go with them. When they leave, Katya pulls Nastya out of her house, after which they escape in Zoya's car. Meanwhile, Andrei realizes that the commandant is a fake, and at gunpoint he demands an explanation. They run in different directions, flickering before Andrei's eyes, and he shoots Lyosha, who falls off a cliff. Lilia, distraught, believes Lyosha has been killed, which she tells in tears to the other girls. However, Lyosha himself soon appears in front of them and almost gets his ass bitten. Alive but slightly battered. Finally, they reach the airfield, where the commandant reluctantly agrees to transport the brides. As the plane prepares to leave, the brides bid Zoya farewell. Lyosha, struggling to say his goodbyes, is caught by Nikishina, who accuses him of polygamy. When she insults the brides, they fight back, proclaiming that while the war may have taken much from them, they refuse to feel ashamed for wanting love, hope, and happiness. Their defiance silences the crowd. The villagers, moved, giving their silent blessing. Nikishina, seeing no witnesses willing to testify, lets Lyosha go. As the plane takes off, the brides bombard Lyosha with hints that he too needs a wife, Zoya. Lyosha sprints back to her and they meet halfway. The commandant registers their marriage right on the hood of Zoya's lorry. The film concludes in Germany as Lyosha's friends see their new wives for the first time. They all pose for photos against a backdrop of painted birches. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this story, because there are many more waiting to be told. See you in the next one. Bye!